I recorded this video the other night, but the sound didn't work, so here I am recording the sound watching what I edited. This is me editing in RSStB. I made this video as sort of a Final Cut tutorial for my friend Tack on YouTube, Hate Me Productions. So what I did was I dragged my footage, my captured footage that's up in the left-hand corner, down onto the timeline. And then I moved the footage over and left room for the intro, which I then import. RSStB opening, I type in, there's two openings. The new one has rickyshore.com over it. So I wait for the image to show up and then I import it. I drag it down to the timeline. And then I unlink the sound so I can have space down there to put the intro song. I can put the intro over that even if there was sound there, but I just like it to be clear. So I deleted the gap in between the intro and the footage. The footage is about 8 minutes. That's how long usually we shoot. Then I edited them down to about 2 minutes. So we shot this one in order, and there's really no overlapping dialogue. Like there's no conversations between me and Marissa where like it's cutting back and forth. So this skit is pretty easy to edit. So I just found the beginning of the shot. I cut it with the razor. I went over to the toolbar and clicked on razor. The toolbar is on the right. So then I find the end of that shot. Okay, now I'm going to jump forward a little bit. The video ended up being 13 minutes, so I have to cut out 3 minutes. So what I'm going to do now is I'm importing the song that my buddy made for me that I'm going to put over this sequence, this montage. So it's in my downloads. So I find that, and yeah, I couldn't find it at first. I just saw it at the top. It was called A Little Bit of R&R. My friend made a generic version of Old Time Rock and Roll for me. He said that he made it without listening to the original because he didn't want to be influenced by it. So it's pretty funny. My buddy Ryan, who plays Rye Guy on the show, makes all the intro music, and so we own the skits now. We used to use pop songs because YouTube kind of market videos with pop songs, like kids lip syncing to the Backstreet Boys and stuff, but nowadays you can get in trouble for that. So, and plus it's just better to own our material anyway. So I imported the song and I drag it down just to test to see if it's going to look good. I have to chop out this footage of me. I shot a Trippy Shore video in the middle of this, so I got to cut that out. So I go to right where I want that shot to start. It's too bad the sound didn't work, because then you could hear me editing it. You could hear the way it sounds when you play it backwards and forward. So I just deleted that gap. The first couple shots look like they're edited. Oh, I forgot to raise the sound at the beginning. Normally I raise all the sound plus 4 decibels on mono A1 and mono A2 for the whole video, because I just think louder is better. This one I forgot to do it all at once, so now I have to do the 3 different edits individually. It's because I was making this video, I forgot to do it all at once. I'm pretty good about that now. Sometimes in the past I've made some mistakes where I've edited the entire video and it'll be a complicated video and it'll be like, 30 edits, and I'll have to go through and raise the volume on every single cut. So I go to the end of that shot, I turn it back into a razor, I cut it. I have my Final Cut set. There's a certain setting where your razor can kind of like be magnetically drawn to the line, but mine, I have to precisely find the line and cut the frame. As I said, this video is linear, and there's not any back and forth dialogue, so it's just basically cutting out the blank footage in between. That's usually what I do at the very beginning of all my videos. I just cut out all the excess footage. And when I look at the camera, like right here, that's usually my cue editing to know that I just cut it right there. I try to edit these as fast as I can because that way, you know, I hope you can't see my balls there. I was kind of worried about this shot, but I tested it out. What I did was I blew up the footage, and it looks like it's just boxers down there, so I'm okay. I'm okay with that shot. Resize the image back to normal. There's a wireframe around that image, and that's why I can change the shape. What you do is you go up to modify, you go up to your toolbar, and then in view you do image plus wireframe, and it's checked. That means that there's that turquoise wire around it, and I can resize that. I can put it in the corner. That's how I do those horror reviews. I can, put the image in the corner, layer it over another piece of video. And with the horror reviews, I delete the sound, so you can't hear the horror movie. So what I did was I undid all that when I resized the image to test. I undid all that because I didn't want the image to be sized wrong. So now I'm editing the part toward the end where I'm trying on Marissa's clothes. I kind of wanted this to be like an Encino Man thing. I just took it from the same camera angle and put on different outfits, so I could just like cut them so they would just be jump cuts. I missed the line on that one, so I undid it and recut it precisely on the frame. You can go in deeper into the frame in the bottom left-hand corner. It's just kind of all about going back and forth, back and forth. I try not to watch the videos as I edit them, so I can do it as fast as I can. I delete that in between. There were 2 takes of me doing this. Normally we would just do 1 take, so it's easy for me to edit. But there were 2, and I thought the first one was the only one at first, so I edited the first cut, and then I realized that the second one was better, so I had to go back and edit the second one. What the hell? My phone is ringing. It's my buddy Joey. I'll call him back in a little bit. I'm just kind of watching it to see if it cuts right, if there isn't any me looking at the camera or anything. Trimmed it a little bit. That's like toward the end of the video. I'll go through and trim it a little bit just for pacing, just to make it as fast as possible. I try to make these as short as I can. I even cut out footage, sometimes sequences, if the video will be like, 4.5 minutes. When Marissa was living in Florida and I was living at my parents' house in Michigan, I would just shoot really long skits because I don't know if these are funny when we shoot them. What I'm doing here is I'm exporting it to QuickTime. So I go up to File, Export. Export as using QuickTime conversion, and then I can set. And then if I want it, the master copies I export as a QuickTime movie. These are masters for the DVDs. I do uncompressed 10-bit NTSC. So I export two different versions, one for YouTube and one to put on an external hard drive for use on a DVD in the future. Because the QuickTimes for YouTube, the quality is not as high. And that's it. That's my video. Hope you liked it. Hope it wasn't too boring, and I bet it was not helpful at all.